This is a video about a visit to Oslo, Norway. We flew to Oslo from Svalbard following an icebreaker trip across the Northeast Passage. Oslo is the capital of Norway and its most populous city with a population of some 650,000 residents. It's known for its sculpture park, museums, and impressive ski jumping hill. The Oslo airport is some 35 kilometers northeast of Oslo, so it's a long drive into the city center to the bus station. The city center has a surprising number of panhandling gypsies who are first encountered at the bus station. It is interesting to just wander around Oslo before heading off to see the main attractions. The present economic prosperity of Norway is largely driven by revenue from its North Sea oil fields.
Forgot what mommy said, insisted melodies. Ran routes to order, separately installed, but still a hat or two.
The impressive Holmenkollen ski jumping hill is easily accessible via the metro from downtown. The hill is located high on a hill with wonderful views of both Oslo and the countryside. Ski jumping has occurred at Holmenkollen since the late 19th century, and the jump has been rebuilt many times, with the latest being completed in 2010. The new hill has a hill size of 134 meters and a K-spot of 120 meters. The spectator capacity is 70,000 spectators. A lift quickly takes visitors up to the top of the jump, where the view is breathtaking.
Your head arose by fever, we met them all believers, stage uncaging mood. Never seen a sundown like the one in our town, fear and fight in blue. Speak, where are you now? Your song's still in my...
Standing at the start point for the ski jump run, it's obvious the courage required for the jumpers to push off and whisk down the takeoff run. In the off-season, the jump offers an impressive zipline run. Holmenkollen affords excellent views of the large cruise ships sailing into Oslo Harbour. The Vigeland installation of sculptures is a magnet for visitors to Oslo. The extraordinary large collection of sculptures designed by Gustav Vigeland is found in Frogner Park, which is located a walkable distance from the city center. The Vigeland installation was mainly completed between 1939 and 1949. The sculpture installation in Frogner Park covers 80 acres and features 212 bronze and granite sculptures. The sculptures are laid out in an 850-meter long axis that crosses a bridge leading to the fountain and up to the monolith, and finally ending in the Wheel of Life sculpture. The dominant theme of the sculpture installation is the human life cycle. The monolith is the high point of the sculptures. It took 3 masons 14 years to transfer Vigeland's design to the stone. There were many Pokemon Go players completely ignoring the sculptures in their drive to locate virtual creatures. There are many museums on the Bygdøy Peninsula, which is a short ferry ride from Oslo Harbour. The ferry ride to the Bygdøy Peninsula offered interesting views of the harbour and its ships. The first museum visited was the Norsk Folkemuseum, which is the Norwegian Museum of Cultural History. It incorporates a large open-air museum with more than 150 buildings that have been relocated from rural districts and towns across Norway.
You are a pretty horse, that's for sure.
A wagon ride around the open-air museum further added to the feeling that one was stepping back into time. The museum's most impressive building is its 13th century gold-staved church, which was incorporated into the Norsk Folkemuseum in 1907. The gold-staved church is one of 5 medieval buildings at the museum. A staved church is a medieval wooden Christian church building, once common in northwestern Europe. The wooden interior of the church is reminiscent of a sauna, and its walls are decorated with paintings including one of the Last Supper in the apse behind the altar. The Viking Ship Museum houses archaeological finds associated with 3 Viking ship burials. In ships similar to those found in the museum, the Vikings voyaged west to North America, east down the Volga to the Black Sea, and south to the Mediterranean Sea. The Oseberg ship is a well-preserved Viking ship discovered in a large burial mound in 1904. The ship was buried in 834 AD, but was made at an older date than that. The ship is built almost entirely of oak. It is 23.5 meters long and 5 meters broad, with a mast of approximately 10 meters high. Under sail, the ship could achieve a speed of up to 10 knots. The ship has 15 pairs of oar holes, which means that 30 people could row the ship. The bow and stern of the ship are elaborately decorated with complex wood carvings. The accurately recreated Viking textiles are very colorful. The two other Viking ships were also found in burial mounds. The Gokstad ship is the biggest of the three ships, while the Thun ship is in a state of decay. The Kon-Tiki Museum houses both the Kon-Tiki raft and the Ra-2 boat, built by Thor Heyerdahl to prove that his conjectures about the migrations of ancient peoples were possible. Thor Heyerdahl believed that people from South America could have settled Polynesia in pre-Columbian times. The Kon-Tiki expedition was a 1947 journey by raft across the Pacific Ocean from Peru and South America to the Polynesian islands on a raft of balsa wood based on a pre-Columbian design. Thor Heyerdahl and 5 companions sailed the raft for 101 days over 6,900 kilometers across the Pacific Ocean. Heyerdahl believed that the ancient Egyptians could have sailed across the South Atlantic to the New World in a boat named Ra-2 that was built of reeds. In 1970, he sailed across from Morocco to Barbados in the Caribbean. The Fram Museum tells the story of Norwegian polar exploration. Roald Amundsen led the Antarctic expedition of 1910-1912 using the Fram. It was the first expedition to reach the South Pole and did so on 14 December 1911. His rival Robert Scott died after reaching the South Pole a month later. The centerpiece of the museum is the polar exploration ship named Fram, which was built in 1891. In 1926, Amundsen was a leader on the air expedition to the North Pole on the airship named Norge. Amundsen completed the first boat traverse of the Northwest Passage aboard a vessel named Joa. It took 3 years and was finished in 1906. Leaving the Fram and the Joa behind, we visited with Amundsen and his fellow conquerors of the South Pole before catching a ferry back to Oslo Harbour. The wonderful statue named Dikaren, or Diver, was installed in 2013. The Nobel Peace Center showcases the Nobel Peace Prize and is close to the Oslo City Hall, where the Nobel Peace Prize award ceremony takes place every 10th of December to commemorate Alfred Nobel's death. The redeveloped old industrial zone beside the harbor is very interesting to visit, given the architecture of its buildings, its restaurants, and its cultural activities. The Akershus fortress is a medieval castle that was built to protect Oslo starting at the end of the 13th century. It has also been used as a prison and was occupied by the Germans in the Second World War. The guardsmen of His Majesty's King's Guard Infantry Battalion are responsible for guarding the fortress. The fortress displays many eclectic and whimsical sculptures. Beside the fortress is a quay where large cruise ships tie up so their passengers can make a brief visit to Oslo. These large cruise ships tower over the fortress, unlike in olden times when the fortress cannons were high above the ships coming into the harbor. The music from Under Festningen concert made for an interesting nighttime show. The featured artist was Lars Winnerbäck, who was very popular. It was interesting to watch the cruise ships sailing at midnight to other ports on the Baltic. Downtown Oslo was pretty after the sun set and the buildings were illuminated. Operahuset Oslo is a very interesting building at night. A unique sculpture called She Lies floats on water, moving in response to tides and winds. Operahuset Oslo, completed in 2007, is the home of the Norwegian National Opera and Ballet. The Operahuset is unique in that visitors can walk up its sloping roof to the top for wonderful views out over Oslo. The lights on the roof allow visitors to play with their shadows against the walls of the Operahuset. Our flight back home took us to Iceland, over Greenland, and finally back to Canada. Flying over Iceland, we flew over fantastic patterns of volcanic ash on a glacier. We briefly stopped at Keflavik Airport where we could see United States Air Force airplanes transiting through. Back in Canada, we were soon home.
Take me somewhere nice. paradise, to some tired island in your heart called paradise.